Hello and welcome. My name is Amanda, and today I have for you what I'm going to call my third book haul of the year. So I did a book haul in January, and then I decided to do like quarterly book hauls. So I was planning to do January to April, and now it's the beginning of July, and I have a mass amount of books, and I just don't have enough most months to do a monthly haul, and it drives me crazy to not be able to put books away and have to sit around them for like 3 months or 4 months for a quarterly haul. So now this is just haul number 3. That's the long and short of it. But I have a mix of different acquired places. I've got 2 books that were gifts, a couple books I bought off Amazon, and then a couple books that are used books. They're a combo between my favorite local used bookstore and half price books. So I am going to start out with a book that I was gifted for Christmas and then also gifted for Mother's Day by my in-laws. So for Christmas, my friend Bailey bought this for me, and then my in-laws bought it for me for Mother's Day. So I did return one copy. But this is Bibliophile, which is an illustrated miscellany by Jane Monet. Mount. Just kidding, it's Jane Mount. And it's fun. It's got some like timelines in here about different book covers and I think like description of book covers. It's also got a couple like quizzes and things like that, and it's just a fun little coffee table book to have. And I think it's really funny that 2 people within my life saw this and thought about me. The other book I was gifted was the other book I was gifted for Mother's Day, and that is the Downton Abbey celebration, and this is the official companion to all 6 seasons. I really enjoyed watching Downton Abbey, and this is fun to flip through and just kind of read a little bit more behind the scenes and things like that. It's another coffee table book, which coffee table books kind of aren't my favorite things to have around because I want to read a book from cover to cover, and I feel like these are books to just like flip through. I don't really have a coffee table to sit them on, but they're also fun to have because you learn so much more about things that you really enjoy, like Downton Abbey. So those are 2 books that I do hope to flip through throughout the year and just kind of get to enjoy and experience some more of. I guess next we'll just go with my Amazon haul, and these aren't in any particular order. Honestly, it's based off like smallest to largest and how I can stack them nicely. So the first book I have is The Color Purple by Alice Walker. I've never read this book, and I know it's a pretty big like American classic book. I picked this up because there is a prompt about own voices on the 2019 Creating Inco book map, and this book, I really enjoy classics, and so this was the most appealing for me to read an own voices book, since Alice Walker was a Black American woman. And I don't honestly know too much about what the story is about, but the back says it's a story of 2 sisters. One is a missionary in Africa and the other a child wife living in the South. They sustain their loyalty to and trust in each other across time, distance, and silence. So I think it'll be a really great story about the bond between sisters. I don't have a sister, I have a brother. So it's not something I can relate 100% to, but I do enjoy reading about sibling relationships and things like that. So I think this will be a really good book, and I do hope to pick it up sometime this month or next month. I'm not sure if I'll get to it in July or if maybe I can fit it into my NEWTs for August. But that is a book I am really looking forward to. I also picked up 2 Frederic Bachman books. The first one is My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry, and Us Against You. I don't own Beartown, but this one, it was significantly discounted from the list price, so I just decided to pick it up, and eventually I will get Beartown. I have read 2 Frederic Bachman books now. I've read Bert Marie Was Here and A Man Called Uva, and both of those I listened to on audiobook. And I'll probably pick these up on audiobook, but I do really like Frederic Bachman. He's kind of an auto-buy author for me now, or an auto-read author for me, and so I wanted to have these on hand. There's a prompt in the 2019 Pop Sugar Reading Challenge that is about a book set in Scandinavia, and Frederic Bachman being Swedish, his books take place in Sweden, which is a Scandinavian country, so I wanted to pick these 2 up, and I've heard a lot of buzz about Beartown and Us Against You, so I think it would be an impactful story to read. And then this has a dog on the cover, and I'm a sucker for dogs, so I decided to pick it up. The next book I have is a book I pre-ordered, and that is Nexus by Sasha Alsberg and Lindsay Cummings. I own Zenith as well. It is a young adult sci-fi duology. I haven't read Zenith yet, but I did want to support both Sasha and Lindsay, so I decided to pre-order this, and basically it's a continuation of her story, or their stories, which has been described as like female space pirates or something like that. So I don't really know what Nexus is about. I don't really want to read the synopsis because I don't want there to be any spoilers or anything in the synopsis. But I do hope in the fall is when I'm usually more into sci-fi and fantasy. I mean, fantasy is kind of a year-round thing for me, but fall and winter are definitely more sci-fi heavy months for me. So I do hope to pick this duology up this fall and winter. And then I have another pre-order book here from Amazon, and that is the Iliad and the Odyssey. This one is a translation by Peter Green, and I thought the covers on this edition were stunning. It was super pricey. I want to say the box set was like $50, but the Odyssey has some nice foiling on the like water bits of the ship, and I kind of wish they had did that with the Iliad as well, like with the arrows or something, but they didn't. So these are massive copies of the translations, and I just really wanted some pretty book covers in them, honestly. I read the Odyssey back in junior high or high school. I've never read the Iliad though, and I would like to reread it again as an adult. And even though I don't have like a teacher walking me through all the things I should be picking up during the reading of the epic poems, I think it would be interesting to read it now as an adult and just pick up on things myself. So we'll see how those go. They will be slow reads for sure because they are big behemoths of books, but I'm really happy with these covers, and even the box it comes in is really pretty as well. So that's the vanity in me wanting to have really pretty editions of books. And then the next couple I have are thrifted books. So I guess I'll start with half-price books. I picked up Orange Volume 1 and 2. This is a manga, and it's a bind-up of the series in 2 books. This is by Ikigo Takano. I have never actually read manga before. I've read like Archie and Betty and Veronica comics, but I've not actually ever read manga. So I've heard a lot of buzz about these recently on BookTube, and I saw them at Half Price Books for a pretty good deal, so I decided to pick them up. I know that recently in a vlog, like a reading vlog or a wrap-up Becca from Becca and the Books said that if you're not familiar with the format of manga, these are a little tricky to get into reading at first, so she suggested starting with a different manga. So I will probably do that, but these are ones that I would like to read sometime in the near future. And then I bought 4 of the next manga at Half Price Books, and then I rebought 2 of them, and then another 3 at my local used bookstore. But I have volumes 1 through 7 now of Vampire Knight, which is by Matsuri Hino. And basically, this is an academy that's attended by 2 different groups of students. You have the day class and the night class. When the day class returns to their dorm in the evening, they cross paths with the night class on their way to school. And then there's 2 guardians of the school that protected the day class from the academy's dark secret, that the night class is full of vampires. So basically I picked this up because these 4 at Half Price Books were all like $2 a piece, and I wanted to get into manga. And there's always that little bit of vampire nostalgia from, growing up with Twilight. And then my local used bookstore was having a buy 2 get 1 free sale for the Independence Day holiday, so I saw that they had quite a few of these. I got up to, I think, where they don't have spaces in between them, and then I think they have like 9, 10, 11, and like 13 or something like that. So I decided I would see how these first 7 are first, and then pick up more as I go along. But I think this will be really interesting, and I think it'll be a good way to get into manga. And it looks pretty straightforward, and I have watched videos on how you're supposed to read manga, so I think this will be a good learning curve. And I do like the art style in this, so we'll see how I get along with it. I will definitely let you guys know. And then some other books that I picked up from my local used bookstore during that sale were Lord of the Flies by William Golding. I read this book back in junior high or high school. I can't remember when. It was probably June. I don't remember when it was. So I have already read this, but I do like this book. It'd be interesting to give a reread again as I'm older, and this was just in a really good condition, and there was a sale, so I decided to pick it up. I also picked up Beowulf, which is another epic poem. This one is translated by Michael Alexander, and it is one of the Penguin Black Spine classics. And it was, again, in good condition. I did try listening to Beowulf one time on audiobook, and I don't recommend that at all. So I think it would be good to give this a read through in the physical form. So maybe I'll tab it up and write notes or something, or if I can always look up passages that I'm not really getting the meaning of, and see if I can find more information online and the like. The next books I have are because I decided after a long, hard, thought out process with pros and cons of what classic editions I want to start collecting. I was pretty set on the Penguin cloth bound editions, but they're expensive, and I don't always like the cover art for them, so I decided to keep it clean and neutral, and because I like paperbacks better anyway, that I was going to go with the Barnes & Noble Classics editions. So I found these 2 at my local used bookstore. I honestly don't know much of, if not anything, about these, but I picked up Candide by Voltaire, which is a satire. It savagely skewers the very optimistic approach to life as a shamefully inadequate response to human suffering. The tale follows the absurdly melodramatic adventures of the youthful Candide, who is forced into the army, flogged, shipwrecked, betrayed, robbed, separated from his beloved, and tormented by the Inquisition. And as Candide witnesses calamity upon calamity, he begins to discover that all is not always for the best. I thought this would be good for like a short readathon, or like a book you can read in a day, or anything along those lines, because it is under 130 pages. And I would like to branch out in classics because I have read and I am quite familiar with like Charles Dickens and Jane Austen, and the Bronte sisters and things like that. So I would like to read more classic authors that I haven't really experienced a lot before. And that's also where Ward Number 6 and Other Stories by Anton Chekhov comes in. He's claimed as one of the inventors of the modern short story. So this is quite a few short stories. And it looks like, okay, it's a new selection of 23 short stories that explores the entire range of his short fiction, from early sketches to late works. And I don't know, like I said, I don't have a lot of experience with other classical authors other than the kind of main ones, I guess. The ones that you definitely have to read more of in high school and the like. So I decided to pick this up because these two were both Barnes & Noble classic editions, and they were in pretty good shape, and decided because of the sale to pick them up. So that is everything I have for right now. I am sure I will get money for Barnes & Noble or other gift bookstores, as July is my birthday month. So maybe in the next couple of weeks I'll have another haul for you. But until then, this is pretty good, and I am gonna try to be good and get to these sooner rather than later, but we'll see. I'm gonna try and fit some of these into my NEWTs like I explained earlier. But if you guys have any tips on reading manga, please leave those down in the comments below. Also, if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts or opinions were on them, please do let me know down in the comments below, and I will chat with you there until my next video. Bye!